yeah, we'll come full circle later. I'll ask you a few more questions on that. I just want to go back to your upbringing. So I know your dad, I know your brother, Nigerian household. Your dad, funny guy, strict as well. How did that have an impact on you coming up and choosing to play football?
Massive impact, massive, and you don't realize until like you get older how much your parents means to someone or the child. So my dad would take me, not just me, like my other brothers, to football training and back. Like even like school matches, he would come to watch, and I didn't really not appreciate. I definitely appreciate it, but I didn't really understand when people would say, "Oh, your dad is one of a kind. Your dad, it's good that what your dad is doing." Like a lot of the time, a lot of people would tell me about what my dad was doing, and I'm just thinking, isn't that normal? But like I said, as you get older, you start to realize, right, actually, not many of these kids have a dad or even a mum that are so supportive, So I honestly believe I wouldn't probably be, or I wouldn't achieve the amount of stuff I achieved in football if it wasn't for my dad. Just the support, the taking me constantly training, and when I'm training, I'm about like Southend every single week. It's not close, you know what I mean? It's far. So yeah, just all the commuting and all of that was a lot. It was a lot. So yeah, definitely, I think that support from my dad specifically was something that kind of gave me that head start and gave me that kind of boost to being what I was, and even like the man that I am today, just being the man that I am today.
What inspired you to get into football? Was it the fact that you had older brothers, or and also what was the process in signing for Southend?
So football, what inspired me. Sorry, I'll say my brother definitely. So not Keith, not my younger brother. One of my older ones. He's 2 years older than me. I remember going to watch him play a match for his primary school. Went to the same primary school, and every Saturday they'll play a tournament, primary school. Until one day I went to watch and they didn't have enough players. So their manager asked if I wanted to play. They had the kit and all that there already. But I never had football boots. Luckily enough, the manager had a spare one, my size as well. So I played, that's actually the first time I played like grassroots football. And I thought, yeah, I'm quite good. And that was 2 years up. I was playing 2 years up at the time. So yeah, I enjoyed it. That was probably the first and the last game I played with them. Years later, I was playing, obviously, my age group, and I was like a cut above the rest. So that's how I kind of started the football thing, grassroots, that is. What was the second question? Southend?
Yeah, so then how did you get signed for Southend? What was the process?
So I was at a team called Cray Wanderers, just doing so well there. Got scouted by a Chelsea scout at the time. Yeah, I think he might still be there. A man called Steve Owen, who had connections with Chelsea. Went Chelsea for a bit on trial. That was obviously didn't get in. Then a man called Paul Senior took me to West Ham. I was there for a long time. He has a wife called Lara, who's an agent. West Ham didn't sign me. They didn't sign me, so she then took me to Southend. Got signed my first match, and then yeah, the rest was history.
That's at the time. Did you kind of thrive off the fact that you got that first little bit of rejection, and how did you react to it?
So I think the West Ham rejection was more tougher to take than the Chelsea one. The Chelsea one, if I'm honest with you, I don't think I was ready. I was like 12 at the time, and like the step up from grassroots to that academy football was like major. And to be fair, it kind of opened my eyes as well, because it made me realize, okay, cool, there's some things that I need to work on, and there's some, you know, just some things that I need to work on. So which I did. Went back to my grassroots football team, and continued being the best, continue improving. And then West Ham, like I said, I was there for like 2-3 months. And verbally they said they were going to sign me. So when I found out that I wasn't getting signed, it was almost like kicking the teeth. But literally like a week later, or even like a few days later, the agent took me to Southend, and after the first game, they signed me. So that was almost like a relief.
Yeah, how was that first game? What were you doing? Do you remember it?
Yeah, I remember. It was against Brentford. It was. Yeah. It was good. And funny enough, one of the players that was there, he was at West Ham with me at the time, and that was his first game as well. So I got signed. So that West Ham player was signed to West Ham. And then he got released, obviously, then went on trial for Southend. So me and him was on trial at the same time. And literally I signed the day, well, that game, and he signed maybe like 6 weeks after. But yeah, now I was doing so well in that game. Scored a couple goals. And yeah, the manager just loves me and loved me at the time.
So in your head, what are you thinking? You know, you've gone through this process, gone through grassroots. You sound like you started football a bit later than everyone else, and now, you know, you got your breakthrough. And is it like, for you, just thinking, is it thinking, or is it just doing what you do type of thing? You know what I mean?
In terms of,
you know, when you're that age, sometimes you'll overthink too much, you know, and
okay, no, I wouldn't say I was just overthinking. That I'm used to being, like I was used to being the best in my team. So even when I got signed for Southend, it's easy for people to just literally be complacent and be the 4th best or 5th best. But I've always wanted to be the best, and I'm very competitive. So when I get told, or when I'm hearing, oh yeah, I'll say Femi's like probably the 3rd best. When I hear something like that, I'm like, nah, I've got to be number 1. So when I got signed for Southend, I was still shining. Every game I was shining, score 2, 3, whatever.
At what age was this?
My name was under 13s, 14, under 14s.
Wow, it's quite late, yeah.
Yeah, under 14s. So on the 14th level, I was just shining, literally. I'll play a year up sometimes, even 2 years up at times. I was literally just, no one could stop me. I was just shining. So yeah, that was kind of my mentality.
Yeah. So crazy story that I didn't even know, that you got into football that late, in terms of academy football or centre of excellence. And a couple years later, take me through the process of that whole experience where, you know, now you're getting called up to play with men, and you know, tell me about some of the age groups you skipped, you know, to make that step up.
So when I was, I think under 15s, under 16s, I was 15 years at that time. I got scouted by, so when I was at Southend, there was a Man United scout that was watching my games, because like I said, I was making a lot of noise. So I went to United just to train. I was there for like a week or 2, played a couple games, came back to Southend. Didn't really think nothing of it. I just thought, you know, let me go to United and just see how it go, because I'm a United supporter as well. I went there now. played well, scored in one game against Villa, and playing against Everton in the other game. Came back to Southend. The academy sports director, called me and my dad in for a meeting, and they said United and Everton have offered me a contract. So it was, I wouldn't say it was a shock, but it was more of a shock that Everton offered me a contract, because we had nothing to do with them. We just played against them. But United, I knew I did well, so I would have been surprised if they didn't offer me anything. So yeah, at the end of the day, I chose Everton. I thought it was at the time, a lot of academy players was coming through to the first team. You had Jack Rodwell, Jose Baxter, Victor Nichibi. You had a few players, more than a few, should I say, that was coming up from the youth level. So I thought about it hard, and yeah, me and my pops chose Everton. Obviously learnt my trade at Everton, and then yeah, eventually got released by Everton. But yeah, I think I learned a lot, coached a lot, and those things that I learned, it can never be taken away from me. You know, I would say I learned more mentally than probably technically at Everton. You know, I think they drilled a lot of things into me that I think has helped me in life. You know, so I'm definitely grateful. I don't hold no regrets or anything like that. I'm very grateful with the experience and what I've learnt there.
Yeah, man. Just a few things that I took from that. You're 27, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that age, Man United, I don't know if you were playing with at the time, but that sounds like the golden area or something, you know, for you know, Man United Youth Academy, probably since, I think they said it was the best since like Scholes and Neville and them guys. So what guys were you playing with?
So Larnell Cole, Jesse Lingard, obviously Ravel, Morrison's, Ryan Tunnicliffe, Sam Johnston, William Keane, Michael Keane. Who else was there at the time? Ezekiel Friars.
Paul Pogba wasn't there?
So Paul Pogba came, when I was there, Paul Pogba wasn't there at the time. He came maybe a year after me. So I think when we started as a first year scholar, he came. So he wasn't there at the time. We used to play against each other. But I didn't play with him.
Yeah. Crazy. So talk, you know, through the process of being a young kid. Obviously, the way you're describing it was everything was kind of normal to you back then, you know. But probably looking back at it now, it's like, raw, like, you know, people, clubs, scouts, they're all on me. I don't know what the situation was at Southend. Did they want to keep you? Obviously they did, but I mean, at what expense did they want to keep you?
Yeah, I mean, Southend, they wanted to keep me, but you're dealing with competition with Everton and United. You'll be a bit, it's an honor almost to join those big clubs, because, like I said, coaching wise, like I was coached like really, really well. Facilities, etc. It'll be hard to like match that with like Southend, because they don't really have money like the bigger clubs. So yeah, it was a no-brainer to leave and go to Everton. One thing I would say about Southend though is they do have an eye for talent, you know, because a lot of players, a lot of good players that come from Southend. I'm on about the likes of Michael Nagu, Dominic Iofa,
Ben
Jack
Kamara,
Payne, yeah, Isaac Hayden. All of these players are, you know what I mean, came from Southend. So
Steffi
um,
Makadidi.
yeah, there you go, Steffi, Keith, my brother Keith. That
Yeah.
literally have a lot of talent. So yeah, it's just about obviously the next step, because I believe there's only so much you can progress at a club like Southend, and that's no disrespect to them, but you just need to go to that next level and be coached by the best of the best. So yeah, Everton, like I said, I believe that was the right move. And yeah.
How do you make a decision as a young boy in that situation? Do you kind of lean to your parents for advice in that situation, or is it really ultimately up to you as a young boy still, you know, having to deal with a situation like that as, you know, really as a man? You know, that's a man decision, really.
Bit of both. I definitely think obviously my parents have a lot of my dad at the time. My dad, he has more football knowledge than my mum. She wouldn't even know what to do. But yeah, no, I think definitely my dad had a massive input in it. And we were so close to going the other way, but yeah, we chose Everton. I'm a Man United supporter as well, so I'm basically rejecting my own club that I support.
What was it like moving away from home for the first time?
It was tricky, proper tricky. Getting used to their mentality, like the Scousers' mentality. I got myself into like little fights like with my teammates, little ones, not like physical fights, but just like verbal ones. Because their mentality is different, their banter is different. You know, I'm coming from London where we don't take some stuff that they used to do. You know, so right at the beginning, I definitely thought it was a bit tricky adapting to their mentality, their banter. But yeah, nah, I love them. I love my teammates. I love them. I really grew up with them, you know, and I wouldn't change that. I wouldn't change the way we we were together for nothing.
Yeah, I hear that. You went on loan a few times, so, you know, obviously you had a taste at Southend playing with the men. How was that going on loan and kind of, you know, seeing a different world of football?
Yeah, I think that helped me as well mentally. I think it helped me more mentally, like gaining that experience going out on loan, especially the manager that we had at the time at Notts County. He was a bit of a hard nail in terms of he wasn't your typical manager. It wasn't your typical manager. It was just different, and I think that kind of woke me up. I was like, okay, so in the leagues, not all managers are the same. Because I used to think managers have to follow the rules and, you know, be a certain way and look a certain way and sound a certain way. No, I would say he wasn't politically correct in a lot of the things he would say and he would do. But like I said, it definitely shaped me up and it made me realize that, yeah, you know what, there's some managers out there that don't really care where you come from, or, you know, don't really care about your CV and etc. Like, you got to perform week in, week out. So yeah, that was definitely a learning curve for me going out on loan.
Yeah, going to somewhere like Notts County, you know, prestigious history and everything like that. Even the fan base is insane. Don't know what league they were in at the time, but either way.
League One.
So yeah, I can imagine they're probably bringing out decent crowds and everything. How was that whole experience?
Yeah, good, very good. Enjoyed it, man. Literally, their stadium is like equivalent to be fair, their stadium can get away with being in the Prem. You know, it's that big and it's
Like a Bournemouth.
it's just like a Bournemouth. Like a Bournemouth. I'll say better than Bournemouth though. I will say better than Bournemouth. Yeah. For those that that know about Notts County and their stadium, they will know it's a stadium that it shouldn't be where it is, if you know what I mean. They should be playing, that Notts County should be playing in a league that lives up to their stadium.
For more content like this, like, share and subscribe.